There we go. hmm Good morning, or good whatever time it is wherever you are. Here now, it is Monday morning, and I'm going to make sure this goes out to goes posted to X real quick. I hope your day is going well. If you're watching this on replay, feel free to jump to about 3.5 minutes in because that's when I really get started. Make sure this goes out. It's not automated. It used to be automated, but it's not automated anymore. I mean, by automated, I mean I used to just start the live stream and it would automatically post to X, but it doesn't do that anymore. I have to do it manually, so I have to do this. So, you guys all doing good this morning? Feels pretty good for me. Today, I'm going to be talking about first principles and rebuilding society from first principles after tradition gets gets destroyed. It's going to be pretty good. I'm going to do a lot of rewiring your brain in real time on this one. This is a really good one. So settle in. We're going to have a lot of good feelings coming up. How was your weekend? My weekend was really good. I had a lot of downtime. Got to see my family. It was really good. That's really good. Had some sushi. You guys like sushi? I like sushi. Had some good sushi, and that always puts a smile on my face. You know when you have that kind of like meal that you go out every once in a while and get, and it's really really good, and it just makes you happy. Like not because it's like the biggest deal in the world, the biggest thing in the world, but just because it's something you enjoy, and you go there and you like, you know what, I love this stuff. I really like eating this type of food. That's what I get. That's what I get sometimes with sushi, because that's a good feeling. Makes you feel good all over. Makes you feel happy about your life a little bit. Because no matter what else is going on, you're like, well, I'm eating something that's I really enjoy right now. So right now, in this moment, in this instant, things are pretty good. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So yeah, first principles. I'll talk about what first principles are in just a moment too. So we're coming up on time. I'm gonna give it a few extra moments because I started the video feed just a little bit late. And yeah, all right, good. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daily Upgrade with Jason Andrews. My name is Jason Andrews, and I'm a hypnotist, which is pretty cool because that means I know how to change things on the inside to make things better. And if you're here, that means that you probably like it when things get better. You like it when you get better. You like it when people around you get better. And that's what I'm here for too. And today I want to talk about rebuilding a society from first principles. And while I talk about it, I will be rewiring your brain in real time. I'll be doing some work under the hood. Now, if you're watching this, you probably had some other things going on today. So the first thing we're going to do is take a deep breath in, hold it for just a moment, and let it all go. Ready? Hold it and let it all go. That's better, right? And the next thing we're going to do is take all these thoughts, extraneous thoughts, everywhere your mind has been up until now. We're just going to bring it all in so you can focus. Now, today I'm going to be talking about rebuilding society from first principles. And what I mean by that is, you all know what society is. I don't have to define society, but first principles I might have to define. If you have an organization or something that has been going on for a long time, you have a thing, and then something else happens, and you have to adjust the thing, right? Let's say like the tax code, right? Somebody cheats something, and you have to put some additional line in there so people can't cheat anymore, or some what more often happens is that somebody gets a special consideration baked into the tax code, and over the years it starts for something clean and it ends up being this bloated, overloaded uh, thing. And there's two ways out of that. You can either start clearing it out and simplifying it, or you just start over. You just start over because the whole thing is just not doesn't work anymore. And when you start over, you say, okay, what do we want to base this off of? Okay, now if it's the tax code, you would say things like, well, we need enough revenue to keep the lights on and do things like that. We need to incentivize maybe a few small things. You don't want to get too deep into incentives, but there are some things you would want to do. Like you want to disincentivize probably like cigarette smoking, right? Because that's an overall burden. So there's some incentives you would want to play with to some degree. You'd want to make it fair, right? These are your first principles. This is like, what do you want out of the system? What do you want out of it? Now, what has happened over many, 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 many generations and thousands of years is that human societies have risen and fallen. They have developed and they have crashed. And what happens is all of these different people learn from what went wrong. They learn from what went wrong, and that turns into what we would call tradition. And there's a very deep traditionalist, there's a very traditional body of knowledge and understanding about how things work. And by and large, it works because it's been tried and true. Well, over the last probably 70 years, we've had a coordinated assault on everything that is traditional, everything that is tried and true, everything that is historical. And many things have stopped working. Now, one of the biggest things that stopped working is the process of men and women getting together, forming families, and having kids, which is critical to the well-being and success of any society. If you don't have that, you don't have anybody, right? If you don't have enough kids, you don't have anything in 100 years. It's just gone. They're just not there anymore. So that's one of the things that has been that has had some problems, right? That's just an example, but that's what I'm talking about for today. So there's one other concept I want to talk about. It's called Chesterton's fence, and this is from G.K. Chesterton, this really, really smart guy I've been reading a lot lately, an English guy, and he had this story. He said, if you're in taking a walk or in a field somewhere and you see a fence and you think, well, what's this fence here for? This doesn't make any sense. I should get rid of it. He says, if you don't know what it's there for, do not get rid of it, because it's solving a problem so effectively that the problem is gone. He says, if you know exactly why that fence is up there, then you can at least think about it and figure out if that's something you want to do or not. Well, it's my theory that by the 1950s, we had basically solved all the major problems, at least in America. Not for every single person, but it was a really functional society. And we forgot. We forgot why all those fences were there. We forgot what the tradition was there for. We thought, oh, well, people just do this. Well, why do they do that? That's dumb. That takes effort, and I don't like it. So we're going to get rid of it. And then what happens? Well, you stop doing that thing, and then the problem that it used to solve comes back. Now we're seeing this in so many ways right now. So many ways right now. So if you think about what I just said and that process of solving a problem, the problem disappearing and one or two generations later, they don't remember the problem and they say, well, this solution is dumb. We don't need the solution. They remove the solution and the problem comes back. This is a cyclical thing. This is a cyclical thing. And you combine that with the idea that if you are going to keep adding complexity to a system, eventually the complexity will get too much to handle and the system will stop functioning very well. Combine those two ideas and think about this, because there's some things like that in our own lives. We do certain things or we don't do certain things because of what has happened before. Okay, well, I go to high school and I study. And then what for? Okay, well, because I want to go to college. So you go to college and you pick a major and you do it and then you get a job. Okay, well, why am I getting a job? Because I have student loans. Okay, well, what are you going to do once, after you've worked for a little while? Okay, I'm going to buy a house. And now I have a house and maybe some student loans. And now, okay, I'm going to get married and then I'm going to have kids. And so I have to keep working. I have to keep working. Why do I have to keep working? Because I have to pay for my house. Right? Why do I have to pay for my house? Well, I have a wife and kids. And it's this system that builds itself up. And then at some point, a lot of people just get to and this has happened with younger people now. They're going, okay, this doesn't work for me. This doesn't work for me. I can't even do this. This doesn't work. Why am I going to college to get a job, to get a house and a mortgage, which makes me keep my job forever? Why am I doing all that? And they think, well, maybe we don't want that. Maybe we don't want that anymore. And they start to think about, well, what are the first principles of what I would want to build with my life? Well, first principles would be first, health, shelter, physical life security. Then you would have family, right, and relationships. Again, for most people, there's a few real loners out there, but you want your health and physical safety. You want your family and relationships, and you want something to do for hobby or entertainment or fulfillment. And if you really think about it, isn't that really it? I mean, a lot of people want a mission and a faith or religion. Okay, I'll put that in there, right? But you got those four things. You're good. You're good. And so if you're going to design a system from the ground up to be conducive to those things, you probably wouldn't design today's society. You wouldn't. And here's the thing, the society you would end up designing would probably be fairly similar to a traditionalist society that's been going on for thousands of years. Why? Because it freaking works. Because it works. Because it works. I'll give you a couple of examples of this. Let's see here. Let me back up. Oh, you can't see this yet. Hold on a second. Screen share. All right, can you guys see this? I think you can't see it yet, can you? There. All right. This happened pretty recently. This guy from Stanford said, okay, we're all at Stanford and we're all awesome and we're all smart and none of us can find anybody we want to be with. So what does he do? He creates an algorithm called Date Drop, which allows people at Stanford, they fill out a questionnaire and it says, okay, you two should date or you two should date. All right, now, you know what this is? This is essentially a form of arranged marriages, isn't it? It's matchmaking. Now, in every community in the entire world, in every society ever, there have been matchmakers. That is a thing everywhere of all time. And everything had to collapse for this to come back. Now, what about, like, here it says Tinder or Hinge, right? Oh, you can't see that. What about Tinder or Hinge or whatever those other things are? Those are not those are not matchmaking anymore. They might have started out that way. Those are more like prostitution. Yeah, I've talked to enough people who have been involved in who have used Tinder and all those things. They're like, it's a high degree of actual outright prostitution, which is another traditional, I guess that has a historical precedent as well. But the point is, the whole system had to collapse of dating, marriage, and family formation had to collapse before it got reinvented in as the same solution that we've been using for thousands of years. Right? I've got another one. Let's see if I can find it. It's right here. Maybe. Yeah, here it is. If abortion is illegal, then men abandoning their pregnant partners should be illegal too. If women can't opt out of pregnancy, then men shouldn't be able to opt out of fatherhood either. Okay, what is this? That's that's marriage. You ever heard of a shotgun wedding? Right, it's an old school term. Is when the woman gets pregnant, they're like, okay, well, you two are now going to get married, right? Which is the implementation of this exact idea. No, you can't see that either. Hold on a second. Let me fix that. Yeah, sorry. I'm still getting good with this stuff. There we go. If abortion is illegal, men abandoning their pregnant partners should be illegal too. If women can't opt out of pregnancy, then men shouldn't be able to opt out of fatherhood, right? This is the whole idea of the shotgun wedding. She gets pregnant, can't have an abortion, but he can't leave either. They got to do this for the child's sake, for society's sake. Right? And if they got together, there's high likelihood that they're at least minimally somewhat compatible, right? So this is just the reimplementation of the shotgun wedding. And so they're rediscovering this again. Like she's thinking, oh, what a clever thought I had. And we've seen this 100 times. This is probably at this stage, it's just, you know, clout posting or whatever it's called, just attention posting. But I think you understand what I'm saying here. Rebuilding this from first principles. So all you need to do to really take advantage of this idea, right, is to go through that process mentally yourself so you understand what the first principles are, number one, right? And number two, what historical versions of this already exist. And what often happens is you will discover that, okay, yeah, the traditionalists had it right. We need to make an update for today's world, maybe a tweak using using the computer questionnaires, using the algorithm instead of a person to do the matchmaking. Okay, that's the technology update. But generally speaking, men and women are the same as we have been for thousands and thousands of years. We have the same things that go on. And by paying attention to this, you can figure out which of those traditional things need to be technology updated because humans are the same, but technology changes. So update the technology and re-implement it. So that's one way you can take advantage of this. And the second way is to go through your life and think, man, how did my life turn into this monstrosity? Instead of things that are directly tied into my core desires as a human. How did that get so out of hand? Why am I doing all these things that don't tie back in to my core values? And when you do that and really take stock of that, you begin to get a sense that so much of what you do in your life are add-ons in response to some other step that you had to take. You went to college, so you get a job. You get a job, so you get a house. You get a house, so you get a mortgage, and so you have to have a job. And then you spend all your time at your job. Why? Because I wanted a family. Okay, but if you're spending all your time at your job, you're not really spending time with your family much, are you? Right? That's when it goes off the rails. And so you can find out where those points of disconnect are and begin to imagine a life, begin to imagine a situation where what you do ties back directly into your most authentic and core desires. That is so, so powerful. And when you do that, you might discover that the traditionalist mindset works really well. In fact, that's what I had to do when I ended up rebuilding my entire life from first principles. And that's a story I'll tell another time. I ended up basically saying, holy moly, the traditionalists had a lot of things right. I mean, I have my own version of traditionalism, again, updated by, for technology and some other things, but they had a lot of stuff right. But that's me. Like, you can do that for yourself and figure out for yourself where things are. Because the idea is that you want to tie your actions, your behaviors, your life system that you built into your core values and what you truly and authentically desire in your life. And that's going to be things usually like safety and security. It's going to be family. It's going to be something that offers fulfillment, and it's going to be some form of spiritual or religious connection. Those are the big ones. Those are the big ones. And in security, I'm including money. Money is a function of security, and then after you get that handled, it becomes a function of, a tool for basically entertainment. So thanks for being here with me today. If you enjoyed this or found this interesting or useful, feel free to share it with somebody. Check out my website, jasonandrews.coach. I have a process that I guide clients through for this that can really revolutionize your life and bring a level of fulfillment you had at one point but maybe lost. I've done that for a number of clients, and it's really powerful. So have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning.